Fear is a tiny little evil that disintegrates me from within. I must learn to face it. I must learn to control it. If you're scared, say you're scared. All right, so beautiful people. Today is Saturday, July 31st. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Small Business Expo. A good friend of mine named Patrick Williams put this together. I believe he's got about 70 or so RSVPs. It's still early right now. People are getting some lunch and some dinner, depending on what time you look at it. And so I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody and talking a little bit more about small business. Tune in. When I'm about to speak in front of a group of people, I always try to remember first and foremost who I am. I try to make sure that I remember to bring a portion of me into the conversation, whether that be good, bad, or indifferent. All I can do is be myself. When I'm speaking in front of people, it is my hope that they get a flavor of who I really am and what I'm really about, right? In preparation, what I do is I don't go and try to make a whole lot of notes. I enjoy actually just talking to the crowd. I want everyone in the room to feel as if we're just having a conversation over a cocktail, over a cup of coffee, and that's essentially what's most important to me. What are some of the different types of businesses that are in the room? Just call them out. What type is this? Clothing line. Any business? Truck. My man, trucking. Okay. Hair. Okay. Wine travel. Okay.
Music, real estate.
Okay. You said what kind of music? DJ. Health. Okay. I'm going to be able to show you all in just a moment a way that all of us have a commonality. When you are an entrepreneur and you're thinking about what type of business you want to be, let's think about this from a small ship and a large ship, right? A small ship, like a speedboat, those are very agile companies, right? So they have the ability to move quickly. They can make an adjustment at a drop of a dime. So that's that kind of company that can listen to their consumer, make an adjustment really fast. As you begin to get larger, you have to still ask yourself, do you really want to be that submarine or that cruise ship? If they have to make a quick course change, that can take hours. And so if you apply that to business, that can take months, years, sometimes in some cases, decades. What does that mean for your consumer base? How's it going to impact your bottom line? And what does that mean for you in the long run? We wanted to be an entrepreneur. We wanted to be able to build business and those sorts of things. So as we decided to continue to build things, we thought were going in the right direction, right? 5 years went by fast. Before you knew it, we were getting married. We did a destination wedding in Maui. Everything was good at that point. During that time, we were writing down all of our plans. This was down to how many kids we were going to have, when we were going to have kids, who was going to step out of corporate space first, who was going to step out of corporate space next. We were there for 2 weeks at our destination wedding. When we got home, the next day, Kai gets a meeting invite for 15 minutes on the calendar. We didn't think much of it. Maybe they're just kind of welcoming her back, maybe giving her a gift or something like that inside the job she was working. They let her go. Fired her, just like that. So she walks into the room. She says, well, damn, I just lost my job. So me being exactly 24 hours as a husband tries to say, don't worry, baby, I got it under control. Don't you worry. You go ahead and start the entrepreneurial path and I'll go ahead and I'll follow behind you. And so when we wrote the business plan, we had this whole idea of having just like a 5,000 square foot restaurant. It was going to be booze, blues, and barbecue. And when we got to it, it ended up being 12,000 square feet. It was New Orleans style food. And it was a totally different direction. So when we got it going, we thought we had something, right? Remember those nights? If people that have been there before, you remember those nights and you just felt like everything was just perfect. The music was just correct. The food was coming out perfectly. But then there was those other nights when things weren't going well and the musicians didn't come on time and the food wasn't coming out. And I remember the day that I had to make a decision. And as an entrepreneur, the ones that are married, I think you can relate to this. It was either going to be keep the restaurant open or lose my marriage. And it was something at that very moment for all the couplepreneurs out there. If you ever get to those crossroads, choose love. That's my recommendation, because we decided to shut the doors on that. And it was the best thing that we ever could have done for not only just our relationship, but for our lives in general. It's just the right thing to do. As you're building business, another business is going to come and go, but your significant other is somebody that was probably there with you when you first had the ideas, as you were looking to grow and to become something. So always keep that in mind as you're growing your business. December 2020, my life got flipped all the way upside down. I went to my doctor thinking that I was going to get a normal checkup, some blood work, just go in, they're going to tell me everything is fine. At this point I wasn't even 40 years old yet. So I'm like, I got to still be pretty healthy. Went in there, first thing that came up was my blood pressure. At that point, I think my blood pressure was running like 170 something over almost 100 something. So the doctor was like, are you sick? Is everything okay? I said, I don't know. You guys are scaring me. And so they did the blood work. I went home. I told my wife, I said, look, honey, my blood pressure's a little high. They are recommending that I be put on some medication. I'm thinking I can probably work through this. Let's wait to see what the blood results say. About 2 days later, I got the notification that my blood results were in. And when I checked it, my cholesterol was through the roof. And I also became pre-diabetic. Now, those that know my family knows that, my father had issues with heart concerns. He had, he's had a lot of problems with his heart, and he had diabetes. My mother has diabetes, and she battles with health as well. So this was a shock for me, and not to mention my cholesterol at that point may have been way in the high 200s. So that was a shock for me, and I realized that all the money that I was accumulating would mean absolutely nothing if I wasn't here to enjoy it. And if you listen to most of the successful people, i.e. Steve Jobs, some of the folks that are talking about at the end when they are on their deathbed, nothing matters at that point, right? Because all the things that you've done in your career mean absolutely nothing if you don't have your health and the loved ones that mean the most to you. So that was a turning point for me to start being healthy again. And over a 6-month period, I went into this whole thing of learning about my blood type and how to eat properly and all those kind of things. And it really changed a lot for me. I dropped 50 pounds. And now it's really just about making sure that I remain healthy, because my wife and I, we don't have kids yet because we spent so much time trying to build our business. And now it's time to start thinking about family, because when I am on my deathbed, hopefully that's, eons and eons and eons away from now, I will still have at least some of my health, and I will at least have the loved ones around me. I can't remember the name of this book, but it's so important for you all to hear that this one phrase. Remember the angel to death. Remember the angel to death. And it talks about being alive now, because when you're on your deathbed or when you are about to die, you want to be on E. You want to make sure that you've not taken your life for granted. And in this entrepreneurial world, you really do have to shoot for the stars. You have to just jump. If you're afraid, so what? I think Mike Tyson says it best. He's like, every time he fights somebody, before he goes into the ring, he is absolutely afraid. He is scared. But once he walks into that ring, he becomes a god. And that's what you have to do in this life.